Matt Orfalia puts together these really great videos, and I always really enjoy them. And one of the recent videos that he puts together highlights some of the times that Joe Biden has lied. It really highlights all the things that are wrong with Joe Biden. So without further ado, let's take a quick look at that, and then we'll discuss Social Security.
We cannot maintain a president who is a pathological liar.
Now he's making up a story about getting arrested in apartheid South Africa.
This is God's truth. My word is a Biden.
It's weird.
He is a fraud.
At least 31 different lies Biden has told about being an activist in the civil rights movement.
Just flat out lie. That's disgusting.
Trump said he would provide health care to everybody. He lied.
Joe Biden seemed very much to suggest that if Medicare for All did come to his desk, he would actually veto it.
We cannot maintain a president fostering sexism.
There was 3 corroborating witnesses for Anita Hill, and Joe Biden did not allow them to testify. She never got a direct apology from Biden.
He thinks that he's going to win by dividing us up.
The younger generation now tells me how tough things are. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy for it. Give me a break.
What we need is a new politics which brings young people into our political movement, working class people into our political movement. You cannot beat Trump with the same old kind of politics.
So I love that video because Joe Biden has in fact lied over and over again, certainly during this campaign. And his attempts to cut Social Security multiple times is an example of that. His denials about his record on trying to cut Social Security is incredibly frustrating. And it gives you a glimpse into what a Biden presidency would be like. It would be a complete and utter disaster. He is so vulnerable as a candidate. The only thing that would save Biden against Trump right now, in my opinion, is this whole coronavirus debacle, because Trump has been such an incompetent fool that it might hurt him enough to allow anyone to beat him, really.
Yeah, although I mean, I'm never convinced that chaos necessarily helps the challenger. I think that we're a fearful people, Americans. I don't know that we necessarily want to switch horses midstream, but especially if we go this entire thing, let's say that this stretches month after month, and if Biden isn't seen as a leader on it, if he's not at least projecting what he would do were he in power right now, and so far I don't think he's done much in that area, then he cedes all of that ground to Donald Trump. Eventually Donald Trump will listen to some of his advisors who don't want him to go down in flames, and they'll do something helpful to the American people, and that is gonna look great in comparison to Joe Biden, who's gonna look like he was just sort of standing back as this whole thing developed.
Yeah, I mean, the conventional wisdom is that economic downturn helps the challenger and it hurts the incumbent. But you're right that chaos, like a war, for example, helps the incumbent.
Yeah.
And this coronavirus situation it's a little bit of both, right? Because it's going to be an absolute economic catastrophe. That's no denying it. But it does feel like a wartime situation in which people are afraid.
Yeah.
And like that there's this threat out there. But what drives me crazy about this Joe Biden thing, and you saw it play out a little bit in the debate with Bernie, is when Bernie calls him out for wanting to cut Social Security. He then, Biden has the political cover to say, the Washington Post fact checker said that you're telling a lie.
PolitiFact
and the Washington Post fact checker. And the reason, the rationale that Glenn Kessler, the Washington Post fact checker, said to call it a lie was exactly what I was talking about, is that at the time, that was kind of the consensus position.
That doesn't make it
How
better.
does that possibly bear on a
It
fact
doesn't make
check?
any sense, but like all that matters is that they could rate the thing a lie, and then Biden's like, the Washington Post fact checker said it's a lie. So it gives them the political cover. CNN is just, the monitors are just standing there like, nope. Actually, then the only thing they could bring up is something that Bernie wrote in 1996, which was about expanding Social Security to say like, well, you wrote this back 25 years ago, and you said you wanted adjustments to Social Security, so why does that not matter? It's utterly infuriating that they allow him to just get away with this, which is like his most vulnerable issue with his core constituency, which is older voters.
Right.
Like it's like they're playing, they're covering up this.
It's such a good point. I mean, you're right, because older voters, generally speaking, support Biden. And we know how popular Social Security is. We know that any attempt to go after Social Security hurts a politician. But the media, really, this is malpractice. It's withholding incredibly important information for voters. And then there's the added lie, and I genuinely do think this is a lie, about how Biden's the most electable. I don't think he's the most electable. I know that we're in the uncharted territories right now when it comes to the coronavirus, and who knows, it might work to his favor, it might not, I don't know.
It's astrology.
But let's say,
we don't know.
We don't know, but let's say we're not dealing with a global pandemic. It's a normal general election, I guess, and it's Trump against Biden. I just see Biden as such a vulnerable candidate. I know I've made this point a lot on the show, but it's not just about the fact that he can't finish his sentences and it seems like he loses his memory and he's all over the place. It's also his record and how he clearly lies to the American people over and over again. Yes, Trump does it, but Trump, he understands marketing, he understands messaging, and he knows how to steamroll through situations where you expect him to fall apart, and he doesn't.
And look, I think that those moderators are perfectly happy with Biden to lie about Social Security. They hate Bernie Sanders more than they love the truth, if they did it all. But as soon as they come to the general election, then they're gonna wanna pretend that they're fair and balanced, and we gotta get conservatives to watch, so they're gonna start calling him on his lies. 100%. Which, to be fair, they should do, but if they're gonna do it, they should probably do it when it actually matters.
When it matters much more, which is during the primary, so we can pick the right candidate for the Democratic Party.
Electability is, after 2016, when Trump won, after 99.99999% of the pundits that we all watch on TV said that it was impossible for him to win, and he won. Like that, it should be like blown up. Like how, with a straight face, I don't understand how these people can say like, well, you know, he's electable. You know, like no one knows. This is astrology. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. It's impossible to know. Like Trump won. We know this against the most electable person ever, supposedly. So these arguments are so frustrating to do because like you're getting into a game where who the hell knows what's gonna happen? And that's why it's so frustrating from the media. Like that's like all they want to talk about because they don't want to talk about the real stuff. It's just, it's infuriating.
It is.
So we've been talking about Social Security and the fact that for the vast majority of voters, they probably come out at best like wondering about Joe Biden. They're definitely not sure that he lied, which is the clearest thing imaginable. So I guess we have to hypothesize, did this matter in an election? And I don't have proof for you right now that it did, but I can say that in Florida, a state that Biden looks like he's gonna win by like 30 or 40 points, according to CBS News primary polls, 59% of Florida likely voters said they trusted Biden over Sanders to handle Social Security.
That's
by a big gap.
That's the reality. Like Bernie Sanders has been ridiculed his entire political career by liberals for wanting to expand Social Security.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.